Start recording.
Did we hit record?
Yep, we're recording.
Awesome.
Okay, so we're glad to have you with us tonight while we go through this neck and headache seminar. We hope that we answer your questions. There's a lot of material, a lot of information about headaches and necks and migraines, so we're really only going to be kind of glossing the surface of the topic. So I'm Dr. Elmer, I'm John Elmer, and this is
Brad Clementson. I'm the other physical therapist here. We know we have some of our current patients on here. We're excited to have you guys with us. And we've told everybody, tell your friends, tell your neighbors about this, because this is a lot of really good information. And right now, headaches, migraines are one of the most popular things people are dealing with all of the stress, some of the depression, being stuck at home, missing out on family or other events. So please share this information. Megan, are we going to have a replay for them?
Yeah.
So Megan's going to send out a replay link for you so you can share that with your friends and family. We want more people to know there are answers. One of my patients I just told about this webinar, she didn't know it was happening. She's signing up right now, so she'll be coming on in a minute. She had a family member who actually had a tumor. And everybody just said, oh, whatever, you're making it up. There are a lot of things that we're going to be talking about that can cause those headaches. And if you aren't getting answers or you're getting pushed to the side, come and talk to us. Come and talk to the neurologists who we work with, who are willing to look into it more with you and some of the stuff we're going to talk about tonight.
dive a little deeper with you. So this is the typical response, right? Take 2 aspirin and call me in the morning. And you know, you read the cartoon, headache, I take 2 aspirin and keep away from children, just like it says on the bottle. So that's typically what we do, right? Especially if we're relying on medications only. We provide an alternative to only the medications.
Yep. So today we're going to be talking about some of these, not all of them. Like John said, we can't cover everything, but hopefully if you guys have questions on any of these specific conditions, let us know. We want to address your conditions, your questions, because that's one of the benefits of being here live. We are going to send out a replay, but if you're live, you get your questions answered. So facet joint irritation, those are the joints along your spine, up and down your neck. Nerve root impingement, when you get radiating pain, muscle strains in the neck from like a car crash, from whiplash, a lot of different things, bulging disc, your posture, tension headaches, hypertension, sinus headaches, migraines with aura, migraines without aura. So if you have specific questions to your condition, maybe you've been diagnosed, maybe that diagnosis is incorrect, maybe it's correct, and we can answer your questions right now tonight. And we've got a gift that's going to come at the end. We'll talk about that in a sec.
Yep. So if you have questions and you want to throw them out there, type them in the comments, and Megan is going to help field those questions for us. Make sure we don't miss any of them. But you can see there's a lot going on with neck pain and headaches, and we're going to do our best to cover the most common kind of stuff, but there's no way we can dive deep into all of these in the time that we've got allotted. So keep that in mind.
And I want to just throw this out there right now with John and I. There's a lot of PTs out there who will treat headaches or neck pain. John and I actually specialize in this. This is something we spend a lot of time working on, a lot of different people with headaches and migraines. So this is a really good opportunity. You're with the right people.
Yep.
If you want to work on a specific hand injury or something, that might not be my specialty, but this one is. So let's talk about it.
So gifts, you know, you come to the webinar. One thing that we're giving away is an ebook. So if you have not received the ebook already, then reach out to us, and we'll be able to make sure we get that link to you and get that ebook to you.
And this ebook, out of all the ones that we've sent out in the past, if you haven't been to our other classes, we send out ebooks with all of them. This one's the best one. This one has a ton of information, more than a lot of ours. So make sure that you send us your email or send a message right now, and Megan will write it down, and we'll say that you're like, oh, I need that ebook, and let us know.
Backpack. Do you want to talk about
Oh,
backpack?
yes. So we're giving away a backpack, and only for you guys. So those of you who are here right now, by the end, we're going to pick one of you. We're going to put the names, all of your names in a drawing, and pick somebody to win that backpack. Now, in order to get in the drawing, you have to at least ask one question during this. So it's not everybody who's here, but if you're wanting in on that, please ask a question, share what you want to learn about.
Yep. So part of what we want to talk about today is changing the way you move and change the way you feel. So hopefully we address different movement patterns that are going to change the way you feel. We're going to talk about some of the joints and some of the muscles that are involved that change the way you move and change the way you feel. We're going to talk about posture. Posture is a really, really big component to headaches, to most headaches. Posture is a really, really big contributor. And then we're going to teach you some exercises. We'll teach you some basic things that you can do starting tonight, starting tomorrow, that will help you move differently, move better, and hopefully change the way you're feeling.
And feeling change for the better.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
So tonight, I'm really excited that you guys are here. And those of you who are watching on the replay, this is really good because there's 4 different ways to approach any problem. Extra passive would be doing nothing, right? That's completely passive, and we're just dealing with it, living with it, and waiting for it to go away, or just living with it forever. And then the next one is just passive. Somebody else is doing it to you. I'm getting my neck popped, right? John and I do pop necks and backs, and that sometimes passive treatment can be part of it, but that's passive. I get surgery or take medication or get a steroid shot. Somebody else is trying to fix the problem for you. Active would be what you do. What am I doing at home to improve my movement? Am I improving my posture? Set up my desk ergonomically? Stay active. Now the next one, the absolute best one, is extra active. If anybody here right now hasn't dealt with a headache or a migraine, has no neck pain, please throw that in the comments, because you're our extra active person. That means that you are here like, I don't have problems now, but I want to learn what can I do to prevent that from coming on. I actually have had a couple patients in the last 2 weeks where I'm like, do you have any headaches? And they're like, no, I don't. I'm like, okay, you look like you should, because they come into the office just completely rounded forward, their head forward. I'm like, okay, you look like you should have headaches because of how horrible their posture is. That means it's going to happen at some point. So I start teaching them, can we fix that now so we are extra active, preventing that from ever happening?
That picture on the right, the guy all muscled up, that was Brad last week.
Yeah.
That was the steroids that he was using that helped pump him up.
Those are different kinds of steroids, though. Not quite what the doctor will give you.
So some facts about headaches. Oh, come on now. Facts about headaches. So headaches are the #1 reason visit to the ER. So many people go to the ER because they have headaches. In the last year, almost 75% of men and women have had at least one headache, and 30%, over 30%, report migraines. Tons and tons of money is spent on headaches every year. So over-the-counter medications, absent from work, medical expenses, lots and lots of dollars are spent on headaches every year. So we want to hopefully equip you to be able to address things if you're having headaches on your own, and so that hopefully your trips to the ER don't happen. And even better than that, hopefully you can curb the amount of money that you're spending and that you're using with your insurance.
And hopefully you're not missing out on activities with your family. Honestly, #1 reason for the ER visit, come on, just come here. Like, let's fix the problem. I promise, this is actually what happens when you go to the ER. Pain medicine, muscle relaxers. Legit, that's what's going to happen. Sometimes, depending on your symptoms, they might do a CAT scan if they're worried about a tumor or something. But that's it. Like, come and get treatment where we're going to fix that problem. And yeah, I guess that was it. That's all I want to say there. So here on this slide, we want to talk about what happens to kind of lead to these problems happening, right, over time. So life really can get in the way. Especially, I tend to work a lot with women who have headaches or migraines, and it's because women expect themselves to be perfect. And one of the things you're going to learn tonight is about putting yourself first. And so it's, I'm mom and I'm wife and I'm whatever. A lot of them have jobs and stuff too. They're not just a stay-at-home mom. So they've got to take care of and plan everything at home, all the stress from that, plus deal with their husband, who's another child, at least in my case, and deal with all the stress at work, which can often be other men causing more stress. And so you can see that stress is going to build up. Home, occupation, recreational stuff, maybe your kids with sports. bad life habits. Do I sit on the couch, horrible, slouching, watching TV? Do I eat a bowl of cereal every night? We're going to be talking about diet. And then talking about hydration. A lot of people don't drink enough water. And in order to compensate, I'm drinking soda pop, I'm drinking coffee. And yeah, that's a liquid, but that's not giving you the fluid that your body needs, and your muscles suffer. They're just starving for that water.
And those caffeinated drinks especially, actually they dehydrate you. That's one thing that caffeine does, is it makes you go potty. And so even though you're bringing a fluid in, it's also helping to bring that fluid out. So raw water is huge in the hydration.
Yeah.
So kind of along the lines of stress, what do you mean I have more stress than I should? There are only 2 times I feel stress, day and night. Does anybody relate to that? I think more of us relate to that than probably we should.
Throw that in the comments. If you relate to that, just say I do, okay? So on this next couple slides, we're going to talk about the anatomy, what the anatomy of your neck looks like, the muscles around it. And what's really cool about this topic is that we're talking anatomy from your neck all the way down into your shoulders and your back. So you can see here on the left side of the screen that you've got the vertebrae. Those are the different bones up and down your neck. I feel like I'm way off of the screen. So you can see that curvature in the picture is even a little bit straight. We want a little bit more of a curve on that. So the alignment of it, the disc space, the positioning of those different vertebrae is very important. And then here on the right side of the screen, you can see that, well, there's a lot of muscles there, but the really important one I want to talk about is that suboccipital region. That suboccipital triangle is created by these 3 muscles. And when we tilt our head backwards, when we're trying to hold our head up so we can still see people, those muscles get really tight and overworked, and they pinch a very important nerve. Your C1 nerve comes right out through there. They pinch it, compress it, and you can get neuritis. And we're going to go into that later on, where we talk about the patterns from neuritis and muscle tension that cause those headaches. So
if you feel that tension at the base of your head, that's really a big contributor to what's going on there. So,
I clicked on the wrong thing.
There we go. Next slide. So the arrow on the left is pointing to the upper trapezius muscle. Then on the right, you've got an arrow that's pointing to levator scap, and then to the middle one, or the lower one on the right, is pointing to the rhomboids. So these are all muscles that are involved in creating that tension that leads to the headaches.
And we're going to be talking about more trigger points on another slide, but you'll notice those trigger points line up with those same muscles. So let's go through some of the different triggers and factors that are going to tie into your headache. Did you guys know there's not just one cause for a headache or migraine? It's not just, oh, I don't sleep enough. It's not just I eat a really bad diet, or maybe it's just this. There are a lot of things. If migraine medicine doesn't touch your migraines, then that means that it's not a pure migraine from the brain. It's actually caused by other stuff. Maybe it's your hormones that aren't even, or more than likely, usually one of the biggest indicators for physical therapy with migraines, we're not talking headaches, but migraines, is migraine medicine doesn't touch it. That means that the migraine is being caused by cervicogenic, coming from your neck. One of the biggest indicators that will be able to help you. So going through a couple of these, the hormones, your doctor, especially if you are working with a neurologist, can do testing to find out if there's hormone imbalances coming from your thyroid, coming from, with women, the time of the month can be a factor in that. The next one is diet, really looking at what kinds of stuff are we eating? Do we have too much sugar in our diet? Some of the textbooks and stuff that we've read over the years talk about how a large portion of the society, a large group of people based on their DNA, come from an evolution, all of this stuff as our DNA changes and mixes over the years, where your DNA actually sets your brain up to not be able to handle the high sugar diets. So that means we really got to adjust what we're eating, and working on posture isn't going to fix it. Taking medication isn't going to fix it. We've got to actually adjust the diet.
So other causes, drinking enough water. So we touched on caffeine a little bit earlier, but just pure water. Are you drinking enough water? So here's a quick, easy fix for you, something to think about. You should be drinking the same ounces of water as your body weight divided by 2. So if you are a 200-pound guy, divide that by 2. So that's going to give you 100. You should be drinking 100 ounces of water a day. So something easy, something for you to figure out and look at that you can change right now. You can adapt and bring that into your habits and into your daily routine right now by making sure that you get enough water. Sleep. Are you getting enough sleep? 7 to 9 hours is what we need to be shooting for. And I think almost everybody in society struggles with getting enough sleep. You know, how can you change that habit? But something to think about, something that you can fix. May take some work and some changing of habits with your family and your life, but making sure you get enough sleep is a big one. Sleep apnea is another big contributor. So maybe you don't know if you have sleep apnea or not, but definitely worth looking into. You know, does your partner, your husband, your wife, do they tell you, man, you're snoring, you're waking me up all night because you're sleeping or you're snoring so much? So snoring is a big indicator. It's not the only indicator, but a big indicator of sleep apnea. So if you're snoring a lot and you may be struggling with sleep apnea, that may be something to explore with your physician.
And before we get into some of the sleep positions and posture, real quick, throw in the comments if you have an excuse. I want to hear the excuses why we're not drinking enough water, why we're not sleeping enough. It's like, well, I got to watch my TV. You know, I want to hear your excuse. What is that? What's holding you back from changing those habits?
I got to go pee.
Yeah, that's one of the big ones, right? Can we talk about that?
Yep.
So there's a couple things you can do about that. One of the big reasons that people have to pee at night is because you have weak pelvic floor and a weak core. So working on building your strength can help you address your core building your strength in your core can help you address that so that you don't have to do it. You just don't have the muscles to hold it in. So then your stimulators, we won't go into how that all works, but are waking you up and you're like, I got to pee, even though you don't have to, and you're only half full.
Uh-oh.
There you go. So the other thing is, what time of day are you drinking? Most people wait till noon before they even have their first glass of water. So drink earlier, first thing in the morning, wake up and go. One of my friends is 3/4 Japanese, and he was telling me that in his family and all of his neighbors over in Japan, that's the first thing. When you wake up, cold glass of water, and he's like, they're healthy, they don't have immune problems, and he blames it on that. I don't know if it's all that, but get up and drink water sooner, drink water more, and then stop drinking at 8 p.m. You're going to bed at 9 or 10. You got to give your body an hour or two to process that water and let you flush some of it out before you go to bed. So sleeping and posture, positioning, all that. Let's go into it. So what you're going to see here. Oh, hey, Paul. Thanks for joining. Can you mute?
Hey there.
So the positioning that you put yourself in at your desk at work when you're laying down in bed is very important. You can see here in the bottom right, a gal here is holding onto her pillow, got it between her legs, and she's kind of supported everywhere. And it's okay to hold a couple different pillows, but what's really important is don't have 5 or 6 pillows pushing your head forward, okay? You need to allow your spine to be in a neutral position throughout the night in order for you to not create buildup of tension and muscle length changes. Same thing happens at your desk. If you're sitting at a desk where the screen pulls you down, where your keyboard is too far out in front of you or too high, we need to align that properly in order for you to not be causing or adding to this problem. And we have a slide, we're gonna go through some of those things you can do to set up your desk. And posture is our next one, but we're going into that. So we got a lot to talk about and cover there. Maybe it won't move.
We're frozen.
There we go.
There we go. So most common denominator causing pain and headaches. Any guesses? Throw your guesses in the comments. We'll give you a few seconds to type in there.
Yeah, and hopefully you guys have learned some stuff already, and this is getting you excited. There are answers, I promise. I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of people who have met with tons of doctors or they've tried everything. and nothing's working.
So here's the answer. Brad already gave it to you. Bad posture. Posture is just a really, really significant contributor to headaches and the pain that you experience there. Hopefully this picture, you can see in this picture how that might cause it. And we're going to talk a little bit more about posture and how to fix it.
Yep, and Carrie, you got that right. So Carrie, you're already entered in to win the backpack. First person in on that drawing. Glenda, great guess. Stress is a common contributor, but it's not our number one thing. Okay, talking about posture, one of the best things John and I use is a bowling ball to compare that to your head. As you can see here, the female head on average weighs 10 to 12 pounds, okay? The male head, unfortunate for us, is 16 to 18 pounds.
Brad's is probably 22, but I won't tell anybody that. Did I say that out loud?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yep. Which means I have to work so much harder. But as you can see, with that 16-pound or that 12-pound bowling ball on top of your body changes as you slide forward. So if it's 16 pounds up here, by the time you move it forward an inch, now it's 26 to 30 pounds. When you move it forward 2 inches, now we're talking 40, 45 pounds. And it can get up to 60 or even 70 pounds of force that your muscles are having to do to hold your head up.
Hopefully you can see that, through these pictures and maybe envision how the weight of your head is going to really cause those muscles to work. I mean, not only is it putting stress on the muscles, but it's making those muscles have to work to hold things up. And those muscles working so much for so long, they're going to get tired. They're going to get tired and they're going to start to hurt. So here's another picture talking about how that, as your head moves forward, how the weight of your head, the weight doesn't actually change, but the forces needed to hold that head up increase, and it makes that head feel heavier than it actually is because it is in that forward position.
And look at the curvature in the thoracic spine. That's your upper back. Look how much trauma is happening to that. And a lot of people have that arched back, and it's just not good. It's going to cause other problems, and it's going to make it harder to stand up tall and even move as you get older.
Yep. So purses, backpacks, your kids in their backpack, maybe some of these images make sense to you. Sitting at a computer or a desk, using a laptop in a hotel or on an airplane. That gal in the middle with the phone in her ear, that's not helping her posture at all. iPads, cell phone, sitting in the car, we're driving so much more as a society that really it puts us in these bad positions, bad postures that are gonna stir things up.
Yeah, and Tiffany, thanks for joining in. Throw in your comments if any of those rang true for you. So did the iPad, the phone, what are you doing that's pulling you into that position that's making you lose that battle against gravity? Gravity's pushing down on your head, pushing down 9.81 meters per second squared, and it is winning the battle because of those things we just talked about. Throw in the comments what one is your number one thing that's causing that problem and the number one thing you're going to do about it. That's the one you're fixing. That's your goal.
Okay, so we talked about water. Water is an easy fix. Now we want to talk about posture. I'm going to have Brad take me through the activity that you can do at home. I'm going to sit sideways, so hopefully you can see the fix. I'll adjust my picture here, so hopefully you can see the fix.
And so he's looking at his phone, right? He's got his iPad out in front of him or something. So we're going to roll the shoulders up, back, and then pull them down slightly, and then take that head and slide it in. Okay, you can see he's keeping his chin down and low and sliding it in straight backwards. That's a directional slide. We're not tilting forward and back. So slide forward again. Now just look up at the ceiling for me, John. That's not what we want to do. That's not helping us. So look back down, slide in. And it's going to feel weird. It's pulling on your muscles. The signals from your muscles are telling your brain you're moving wrong, but you're not. You're moving right, and you're changing that. Now we need to do this 1,000 times a day. That means don't count, just do it. Do it whenever you stand up, whenever you move, correct your posture. You're not a robot. You don't have to stay here. Now, the problem is we flex forward 3,500 times a day. So we need to fight back at least 1,000 times a day. Come back up to this position, and then you're going to move again. Your spine's made to move, but come there more often.
So we call that a posture reset. And so that's something that you can start incorporating right now, tonight, tomorrow, to help those headaches. And it is going to feel different. One thing when you're doing it, you want to watch the shoulders. That we don't want those shoulders coming up. We want them going back and down. So sometimes I'll have people watch in a mirror to make sure at first when they're learning to do this that they're bringing the shoulders back and down, not squeezing up. If you squeeze up, then you're just perpetuating the headache. So down and back, chin back without looking up to the ceiling, and you want to hold that position for how long?
About 5 to 10 seconds.
Okay. So
now, number one excuse people give me is, well, that gives me a double chin. Of course it gives you a double chin. Your spine is pushing forward and you're trying to pull your head back, so you get this double awkward chin thing happening, and that's okay. As you practice, that goes away. As you can see, no double chin, and I'm sliding in. But that's because I practice and practice, and I keep practicing because gravity keeps pushing down on me.
okay.
So we have a question.
Okay.
How often should I stand and stretch when sitting or working at my computer? Are there specific stretches that can help me with posture?
Yep, absolutely. That is one of the things we're talking about later on for how often to stretch and get up and move. Let's just go over it right now. In general, every hour. Set an alarm on your phone, and when it goes off, hold down on it, hit repeat. And that will remind you every hour, get up and move, okay? It's that simple.
And spend 5-6 minutes stretching. If you use that alarm method or technique, if you can spend a minute or two every 15 minutes, then that's certainly going to help with the stretching. So those posture resets are big ones. We're going to teach you a couple more that you can do, some specific stretches a little bit later that you can hopefully add that to your routine. And if you go through all of those stretches, especially that posture reset every hour, then that can really, really take a dent into this.
Yeah, and Ty, thank you for that question, and we'll add you to the list for the drawing at the end. Those stretches every hour a little bit really adds up, and it doesn't have to take too much time.
Nope.
Okay. All right, so sitting in a car, there's a lot of problems we have here, and a lot of people don't sit properly. They're sitting for too long. So if your back part is leaned back too far, I'm 6'4". That's hard. I have to lean it back to even fit in my car. That's a problem. The headrest is pushing too far forward. So literally we pull our spine backwards and then push our head forward, just completely jacking up our body. And some people have a commute for an hour, right, John?
Yep. It's awesome.
In my 20-minute commute, it can still cause a lot of problems. And then we slide our hips forward at the bottom. So we create this whole C shape on our spine, making so our spine can't even hold us up, and just our spine has to give up. It's just, I can't do this, I give up.
Yep.
So this is going to lead to some of the problems, and this explains it. This is everything to help you understand in a very simple concept. Your body adapts to the positions that you put it in. Your body adapts to the stresses that you place on it. Your muscles in your pecs, just imagine that poor posture position, are going to get shorter because you put them in a shortened position. The muscles in your back, can you see that? The muscles in your back are going to get longer because you put them in a lengthened position. Longer means weak, shorter means tight. So you can see tight pec and tight upper neck, upper traps, all of this. Super weak in the front. Try laying down on your back and just lift your head up just an inch and see how long you can hold it. Most people can't even do 5 or 10 seconds. We should be able to do 30 to 60 seconds. Means we're too weak.
And most people think they can do it. They think, oh, that's easy. I can do that, piece of cake. And when you actually do it, and you'll find out, whoa, that's harder. That's much harder than I thought. And really, I can't do it.
Yeah. And that's if you do it properly. If you're cheating and like completely holding your head up or holding with your hands, that's cheating. Just lift it just a ½ inch off the floor. Try it after this class and let us know what you think.
So you'll look like a crazy chicken. So head forward, you're just lifting that head forward a little bit and trying to hold it there. So That's the motion we're talking about, not the tucking your chin down. So other problems that are included with posture, and Brad kind of touched on this already, is those shoulder blades going forward. And so, you know, you might look like a gorilla. Think of a gorilla at the zoo. Those shoulders are forward. If you look at the picture of this guy on the left, you can see that his hands are kind of rotating in. Brad's trying to demonstrate the gorilla posture, but your chest is forward, those pecs are tight, the muscles in the back are stretched out and are loose.
I clicked on the chat. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is trigger points. Remember, we talked about with those arrows pointing at those muscles. You can see here trigger point patterns. And just go and Google it. There's tons of video, or not videos, I guess, pictures of all these trigger points. When you work on that upper trap, it goes up the neck and even into the side of the head. A lot of people, when you push on that trigger point, they'll say, oh yeah, that's my headache. I feel that. That's always what I feel.
And the upper trap is the one on the left. That's the red dots on the left. So that's where those trigger points would be if the upper trapezius or the trapezius is involved at all. The blue one on the right, we talked a little bit about the rhomboids, and those are different muscles that help hold the shoulder blades back, and that's where the trigger points, that's where people are going to feel it most often in that area, kind of by and around your shoulder blades.
Yep, and you can see on the yellow one is your levator scap, and that's one of the other arrows that we have.
Yep.
Okay, so right here, you can see that picture showed up. This is actually a picture drawn by one of our patients who was drawing out where their headaches were. And you can see those lines just coming up all over the back of the head, and then even into the front of the head, and then the ones right above the eyes. And those are following a lot of those neuritis pathways and a lot of those trigger points. So we've got inflamed nerves and really tight muscles. And both of those are things we're gonna fix. This one is just another picture of that scalene muscle with two of those trigger points. Let's go to the next one. And this one is those, the scalene muscles on the side of the neck can cause pain down into your arm. So right now in the comments, throw where your pattern is. Where do you have your headaches? And is it, you have your pain down into your arm, even into your fingers, or maybe you have the pain just here on the side of the head, base of the skull, maybe radiating up over the neck? Throw that in the comments. Where are you guys feeling your headaches?
And I like to kind of compare these referral and these trigger point patterns to people when you have a heart attack. I mean, I think most people have heard when you have a heart attack, one of the signs can be that you have pain down into your arm, right? Well, that pain isn't, I mean, it's not the heart. Your heart isn't in your arm, but it refers pain down the arm. And that's what these trigger points and that's what these patterns are all about. So they're just helping us. They're clues for us to know where do we need to zero in, what do we need to work on.
Although John does wear his heart on his sleeves.
I do. My kids say, Dad, you cry too much. That's a true story. That's a true story. So you can talk to me about that when you come in and you work with me.
Right. Do you want me to read you the comments or do you see them?
That'd be great.
So we have traps, shoulder into neck and lower head. And then I typed in for the base of the skull and behind my left eye usually. And then traps, neck, and head.
So all of those, you guys are describing headaches that we can fix, that when I say we, I mean us as a team. I'm not saying come and see us and we'll fix it for you. Us as a team, what we're teaching you right now applies to you, and This will work.
So the fix, the solution. So first of all, becoming aware, posture. Posture is huge. We've talked a lot about that. That's something that we would definitely review when you come in. Change in habits. What are the habits that you do? What are your daily routines? And those would be conversations we would have. How can we be more aware of those habits and those things, those positions we get in, and how can we change them? Are there triggers? Are there things in life that seem to set things off, to set your headaches off?
Yeah, and what you're doing, you're never going to have a clean house if we can't pick up more than the messes we make. You're never going to get these headaches to stay away unless you can have less trauma compared to the work you can do to maintain it. So if I can do posture resets enough, if I can stretch enough, more than the trauma that I caused from the bad positions, then I can win. But if not, you're just causing problem, and a tiny little fix. Stretching once every other week is not going to do it.
No, it's been probably a lifetime coming on, and it's not going to get fixed overnight or in one day. And we don't want to discourage you, but we want to be realistic with you that it's going to take a little bit of time and some changes in your habits and in your patterns.
Yeah, and habits are hard to change.
Very hard.
So some of the other things they're working on: relaxation, working on meditation classes. There are a lot of really good meditation videos on YouTube. Stretches, the stretches that we're going to teach you, more stretches that we could show you if you do need treatment. Learning how to cope with stress. Are you putting yourself as number one? That's the next one here. It says, especially with women, right? All of my patients, first thing in the morning, look in the mirror and say, I am number one. Put yourself first. You need to take that time. My mom does a really good job at this. Once a month, she goes away. She gets a hotel. She gets a massage. She gets 48 hours with nobody else around. She's putting herself first, and that's going to help her do better when she is with people, with my siblings. And the perfect analogy for this is you're on an airplane, and I want you guys to think of your answer right now. You're on an airplane, and the oxygen bag drops down. What are you supposed to do? Did you guys, I mean, you've heard it. Most of us know the answer, but then think, what would you do? What would you do? And every woman that I've ever talked to about this says, well, of course, I put my child's face mask on first, right? The oxygen bag. Wrong answer. So you got to put your own on, because you're putting your kids on, and maybe you even get it on, and then you pass out, and your child's not going to put yours on. Put your own on. Same in life. Put your own mask on in life. Get yourself doing well. Otherwise, you hit a brick wall at a point where you can't even help anybody. You're no use to anybody because you can't function, because the migraines just make you hide in your room 24/7.
Hydration and nutrition, we already talked about that. Exercise and stretch. We'll talk a little bit more about some stretching, but cardiovascular activity is really, really good to help release endorphins that minimize stress in general and that are going to help with these headaches.
So we had a couple more comments just about where you're having that pain, your traps, neck, shoulder into the neck and lower head. Thank you guys for commenting, and all of those comments we'll write down and put you guys in the drawing. So thank you for joining in. All right, some of the things that we do here at Physical Therapy. This is your spine school. This is your posture education and practice. We're going to walk you through the stretches, the exercises, and we get to work on it for like an hour, hour and a half to actually get the body to change, because we're going to give you homework, but can I do 10 or 15 minutes a day at home? Really, I can't do an hour at home, mostly because the kids are, Mom, come on, come help me, right? So we're going to walk you through that, practice it with you. We also use a lot of modalities, ice, heat, electricity to help calm down your muscles, calm down that intense pain.
We can do some spinal mobilizations. We can do some cervical traction, which will help stretch those muscles out. Another tool we have, we can take you through relaxation, kind of a relaxation process, and teach you the steps there, work on your breathing, work on your positioning. And so that's something that we can do here if it seems like it will be appropriate for you. And then work on your posture. We taught you the posture reset, but there are other things that we have that we can't go into tonight to help you be aware of that posture and address it.
Yep, and like John was talking about, spine mobilization, manipulation. If we're popping your neck and back, that's something Sean and I are both trained to do. Most people think that only chiropractors do that. No, it's something that we do here as well.
So sitting at your station at work, if you're a desk jockey, this is something that we can talk a lot more about. But you want to make sure that your seat is adjusted appropriately so that your hips and knees are at a 90-degree angle. You want to have your elbows at a 90-degree angle. So does that keyboard needs to be raised or lowered? And then how high is the computer screen? You want your eyes to be about the top of the computer screen so that you're looking down about 10 degrees to that first line. So these are things that we can talk more about. You know, maybe you can take some of this information tonight and look at, is your seat too high or too low? Are your feet too high or too low? Can you put a box or a block underneath your feet to raise those knees a little bit? What modifications do you need to raise or lower that keyboard? So those are just some really big, broad brushstroke things that we look at, but some things that, again, you could take this information hopefully away from tonight, look at how your workstation is, and make some quick changes.
And if you're getting tired throughout the day, or you aren't taking that break every hour, you're more likely to, your eyes get tired, so you got to see the screen, so you're leaning forward. It's going to pull on you forward, or the screen's too far away, making it hard to see what it says. The other thing is blue light glasses. A lot of people talk about that. So blue light glasses can be good when you're using the screen a lot, but you do need to not wear those all day, every day, because the blue light affects your circadian rhythms. And we won't get into REM cycle, but that's some stuff that we'll talk about with you one-on-one.
Expectations, you know, when you come in here, we'll talk about reducing your headache frequency, intensity, duration, reducing neck pain, reducing muscle tension. What is your neck range of motion looking like? So these are all things that we would work on when you come in here for therapy, and we would address each of these things one by one and kind of tick them off the list.
And even on your own right now with what you've learned from this class, start setting goals. If I have headaches every single day, can I make it where they're only every other day? Or instead of 12 hours, it's only 8 hours? And watch and document, pull out a journal. That's one of the most helpful tools, is journal it, keep track of it. When do I have it? And one of the things John's talked about on our live videos, have you guys watched our Facebook? If you're not, go and follow us on Facebook. We do a lot of this same education there. But John's talked about how the headaches might be coming from 2 nights ago. You know, last night I slept great, but why did I wake up with a headache? Well, 2 nights ago, I only slept 3 hours. 2 nights ago, I slept with 4 pillows, or 2 nights ago, whatever it was, I drank a lot of water right before bed, and I had to get up a ton of times. So really journaling it and looking at, when did the headaches happen? How much sleep did I have the night before or 2 nights ago? What did I eat? And stuff like that.
You know, another quick thing that you can look at right now, we talked there about cervical range of motion. Can you turn your head? Can you turn it all the way to the side? Can you take your ear over to your shoulders? If you're having struggles with some of those movements, you know, those are things that will work with you, that will address, and hopefully get some of that motion back for you.
All right, some of the devices or things that you could do or get to help support you. Lumbar pillow. This one's really good. And John actually talks about this one a lot, with getting that support. Get your butt, you see that first picture out in the bottom left corner, get your hips right up against the back of the chair so that they're rolled forward and in the right position. And then give yourself some support in that low lumbar region. That might be a pillow like this. You might be like, well, yeah, my car has a pump up lumbar support, right? Mm-hmm. And most of those are way too low, and they actually hit right on the hip, pushing the hip forward. So now, instead of it being in a neutral position, we've rolled it backwards, causing the back to arch. So make sure that's in a good position, that it's above your hips in your lumbar region. If not, pump it all the way down so that it's flat, and then buy a pillow that you can adjust and put a little bit higher where it needs to be.
So we've got a pillow here on the right, and hopefully you can kind of see the images. You've got that notch, and in the notch you can put your head if you're laying on your back, or if you're laying on your side, it's a little bit elevated on either side. The whole idea and the purpose for that is to keep your spine in a neutral position. We don't want tons of head forward when you're sleeping on your pillow, or a head cranked over to your side when you're sleeping on your pillow. We want to keep that spine in as much of a straight alignment, a neutral position as we can. And this is one type of pillow that can help do that.
Yep, and there's a lot of them on the market, but find one that's supporting you in the right way. And this is one of my favorite things, and I tell patients this all the time. So they're like, I'm too busy to fix this. Well, what fits your busy schedule better? working on it, you know, whatever it is, posture or exercise or cardiovascular or my knee pain, any condition you have, working on that for an hour a day or being dead 24/7. Or like I talked about earlier, maybe not dead, but in your room, curled up in a ball, holding your blanket for 24/7. That's still going to affect your busy schedule way more.
Yeah. So if we can help you live life and live life to the fullest, then you know that's what we want to do, and that's what we have to do. We have to spend that 1 hour a day, 30 minutes a day, whatever, so that we don't then go out of function because we have that headache that incapacitates us.
Okay, our biggest goal. This is John and I 101. We want you independent. We want you to not need our help, whether it's for the knee pain or for your headaches or whatever it is. Our biggest goal is independence. You need to be free and know how to do it on your own. That's why we give out headache packets and education, our ebook. We give you stretches during these things to do it on your own at home. And the other part of this is you are a co-producer of your own success. That's Paul Wortley. He's the founder of Rocky Mountain Physical Therapy. He's still practicing today as one of the best physical therapists in Utah. And that's a quote that he said, and you've got to be a participant in this. That's a big part of your success.
So let's teach them a couple of other stretches they can do. So we taught you posture reset. How about if we teach pec stretch?
So on the pec stretch, and like I said, we do a lot of these stretches on the videos on our Facebook, and we're going to be posting up a stretch every single day. So with a pec stretch, can we see that okay? Put your hand in the door frame or in the corner of a room, and so that it's supporting your arm, and then rotate with your upper body until you feel that pull across your chest. Can you guys see that okay? So pulling right across here. Every single stretch, 30-second holds twice, okay? Lean into it and hold and then relax. And remember, that's one of those muscle groups that gets really, really tight.
Okay, so we talked about trapezius earlier, right? So here's the upper trapezius stretch. You're just going to take your head to your shoulder or your ear to your shoulder. So you want to make sure that you're not looking up. You don't want to look down, but you just want to take that ear to the shoulder, and you're going to feel that stretch in that upper trapezius muscle. 30-second holds. If you don't do 30 seconds, it's not going to give the therapeutic release of those muscle fibers that we need. So you can modify that. I don't know if you can see me very well, but I got my hand up here. You can give a little bit of overpressure, but most people don't need that overpressure. Most people, if you really just take that ear to your shoulder and you get that stretch going on in the side of your neck, that's usually sufficient. So you want to try and hit both sides. Maybe you're just feeling it in one side of your neck, but these upper trapezius stretches, I like to have people do both sides just to make sure that everything is loosened and equal on both sides. So 2 times, 30-second holds for that upper trapezius stretch.
And a lot of you, I'm sure, have said, I carry my stress in my shoulders. That's actually that upper trap. And that stretch is what you got to do, okay? And it's, well, I did it and it didn't work. No, you got to do it several times a day. I mean, you hold stress all day, every day. Are you stretching all day, every day? Probably not. And then the other thing, if you're not feeling that stretch or any of these other ones we're teaching you, tuck your chin in, because if we're out here, it's like, oh, I don't feel it. Well, you got to get your spine into neutral and pull on it here. You'll feel it differently there.
Okay.
The next stretch we're going to do is your levator scap. Remember that next trigger point? So rotate your head. I call this one the armpit sniff. That way you will never forget this one. You're going to rotate your head, stick your armpit or your head right into your armpit here. And just even without any pull, you can feel that here. You can add in just a slight pull on the back of your head. That's one of my favorite ones.
So those are stretches that we typically start with when we're working with people. But by all means, take those and begin using them. Use that posture reset. Use the upper trapezius stretch. Use the levator scap, the armpit sniff stretch. Use your pec stretch. Remember, we talked about the gorilla earlier, and stretching out those pecs is going to help combat the gorilla. So hopefully these are a few stretches, a few activities you can take and you can start to implement right now.
Yeah, and there's a lot of other stretches we'd love to teach you for your back too. A lot of problems in the neck can come from the back. So Join us for all of our classes on back pain. Join us, logging in on our Facebook page to see a lot of those or any of our other webinars.
So kind of along the lines that we've been talking about, if you continue to do what you've always done, you're always going to get what you've always got. So, you know, these headaches, if they're a problem for you, but you're not doing anything any different, then you can't really expect much different, right? We've got to change those habits if we want to expect something different.
Yep. And positive changes don't just occur overnight. They don't occur without doing anything. You've got to take the right action. If I want my child to turn out normal, I've got to teach her the right stuff and take that action. We've got to do that positive actions, do the positive things to fight back against the stress, trauma, or even just the effects of gravity that happen to us all day, every day.
Are relapses going to occur? Yeah. I mean, you know, I wish I could wave a magic wand and have everything go away and never come back again. But our goal is to equip you with the tools that you need to be able to manage it on your own. We've given you a few ideas tonight, some things for you to think about, some things to incorporate. If that helps you, awesome. If there are other tools that you need, we've got a lot more tools and a lot more things that we can share with you that we just can't get to tonight. But no, if these tools help you get better tonight, or you know, you work with these things for the next several weeks and they help you get better, maybe they are going to come back. And it is what it is, especially with headaches. You know, if we're working with somebody that had a knee replacement or ACL repair or rotator cuff repair, you know, those things are going to get better and they're probably not going to relapse. Headaches are one of those things that they may cycle in and out.
Yeah, and when you have a relapse, or if you have a relapse, generally it takes only 2 to 3 treatments to get you back up and independent again. The problem is that some people wait to be a train wreck and then they come back in. You know, I've had a couple patients from Oregon and from New Mexico who have come here for the headache treatment because they've learned about what we've done. And they might fly into town and say, hey, just hit me Monday, Wednesday, Friday, get their 3 treatments and fly back out and get back on top of the horse so that they're ready to be independent. We have a couple patients who have followed us and come back every once in a while just for that tune-up. But even better, if you stay on top of it on your own and you set yourself up good ergonomically, and I'm doing my own stretches daily, most people don't need those tune-ups. So let's get independent. Let's get strong.
What can we do at home? We've kind of touched on all of this already. We want to equip you to be able to address things and do things at home on your own. We've given you some of those stretches and exercises. So we're getting short on time, but hopefully we've answered everything there to help you know what you can start to do. So the exclusive offer that we have. So first of all, we offer a free, no obligation consultation. Megan, can I ask you to put people's names in a hat? Brad went to get the backpack and
Yep.
give that away here in just a minute. But come in and chat with us. Brad and I are happy to talk with you, answer specific questions that you have, and it's not going to cost you a thin dime, just a little bit of your time. And then if you did not get your ebook below, please give us a comment, and we'll make sure that we get that ebook sent out to you that talks a lot about some of the things we've discussed tonight.
Okay, and right now, just take a moment, write in any questions you have. We're going to go through the comments and see who needs to get in on that drawing.
Megan's doing that already.
Oh, Megan is perfect. So right now is a good time. If you haven't commented or asked a question, ask right now so you can get in on the drawing, or really anybody else. If you have other questions that came to mind, you know, if you want to ask them in person, that's fine. Come and do the free consult. If it's more personal, that's fine. But if you have a question that's someone, you know, most people are probably asking the same thing. How long does this take to get better? Whatever it is, ask it right now. Let's go over it. Awesome, Carrie. Glad you got the ebook.
So this is our contact information. You give us a call. I mean, 801-566-7080. I sound like a radio guy when I say that, huh? 801-566-7080.
Hey, babe, do you want to
Radio
tell
guy.
me?
So this is our contact information, or go to the website rmts.clinic. Those are really going to be probably the easiest for me to remember, maybe easiest for you also to get in touch with us and get set up for that free consultation.
And then just take a screenshot of this or take a picture of your computer if you're on your computer, so that you have this contact info. And like I said, pull up Facebook, look up Rocky Mountain Therapy Services West Jordan. We do a lot of fun stuff on there. We do other giveaways and just education stretches and stuff to keep you active. I know that can be hard for a lot of people. So getting those reminders, let us be your motivation. We'd love to work with you.
Okay, questions. What questions do you have that maybe we haven't answered? You've thrown some things up in the comments already, but do you have any specific questions? And I guess if you want to unmute and throw the question out there, no, we can address it here if you'd like to go that route.
Posture. Ty said that leaning forward to see the computer screen can cause one of the habits that he has. So make sure you work on that, Ty. Set up your screen ergonomically, and then take breaks every hour. Posture for Carrie. That's something. Do those posture resets. Glenda, stress. Meditation, putting yourself first. There's a lot of things there. Megan with her kids take up a lot of time. It makes it hard to put yourself first, or maybe you're picking them up if they're littler and carrying them around. Maybe you put them on one hip and that throws off your spine alignment and makes you lean forward. So there's a lot of good things there. Hopefully you guys learned a lot from the class already and you're going to take action, make a change. Glenda, thank you for joining in. I'm glad the information was helpful. And Angela, I'm glad you were able to get that ebook too. Anybody else not able to get the ebook, let us know. It sounds like no real other questions right now. Like we said, call that number. Let's go back so that we've got that number on the screen. Call that number, set up a free consultation, 10, 15 minutes. We'll answer your questions in person and really go over those stretches if you're a little confused on those. Sometimes you're like, hey, I just need treatment. So talk to Riley. She's fantastic. Come in and get treatment. With some insurances, you need a referral. If you don't need a referral, if you're paying cash, you don't need a referral. If you're self-pay, some insurances don't require that either. So come in, talk to Riley. She'll help you out.
But the consultation is free. So don't worry about insurance or referral or anything like that. That initial consultation is free.
And I want to reiterate, share the replay link. When Megan sends that out, share it out with your friends and family. I don't care if they're in New York, if they're in Oregon. There are millions and millions of people who don't even know there's an answer. And unfortunately, even some of the neurologists or doctors out there don't know about a lot of this stuff. So if your friends and family can learn one or two stretches, one or two things about their posture reset, about how to set up their desk properly, please send this out to them. Share it on Facebook or wherever you want. Just get more people the information. We want to live in a more pain-free America, right? Yep.
Hey, Megan.
Hey,
Do you have a winner for us?
I do. I had my husband even pick it out of the bowl. So
Ooh.
the winner is, I don't know, Tiffany.
Tiffany, awesome.
Okay, so we'll get that backpack to Tiffany, and thanks everybody for dialing in, listening in, checking in, whatever, and being part of our webinar tonight. We do these every month. We do different topics every month. Next month, we're going to be talking about hips and falls and those kinds of things. So stay in tune with our Facebook page, our website, and see the things that we're going to be talking about each month. December, we are taking off because of the holidays, but really every other month, we do a webinar like this to try and educate people, help people know that there are answers and solutions.
Yep. So we'll see you guys on the next one. We'll hang out for a minute or two in case there's any questions that come up. But thank you guys for being here, and we'll see you guys next time.